Welcome back, guys. Push day going down today. We are at UltraFlex North Leeds. And the reason why we are here is because they have got an incredible chest press that I like to use. Now, anyone that has seen Dorian Yates' Blood and Guts, and if you watch his chest training, the flat press that he uses in that video is actually here. As Charles, my business partner and owner of UltraFlex, has actually bought all the original temple pieces. So there's a temple corner in this gym, and it has the original pieces that haven't been touched since Dorian actually used them. Obviously they have been used in a gym, but they haven't actually been refurbished as such. They are still kept in the original colours and state. So today you will get to see me use the same chest press as Dorian Yates has actually used. So we can all take a lot of inspiration from Dorian in the way he conducted himself, the way he approached bodybuilding. And I certainly do take a lot of inspiration from him with the commitment and the laser focus that he had. If there is anyone that we should mimic, it's definitely Dorian, because he was truly beyond his time with not just his application and training, how calculated it was in his approach. Everything that he did was done with a purpose, and it was calculated. He was the original evidence-based, or evidence-based probably is the wrong word, but he was the original thinking man's bodybuilder. That's what I want to call it, because Dorian's training was levels above and beyond of anything anyone else ever did in that era, especially with the quality of his reps, the quality of his training. It definitely showed, and it showed in his physique, because he was never the most gifted physically, structurally, but he was by far the most focused, and he was by far the strongest individual out of that whole bunch when it comes to mental fortitude. And ultimately, that's what bodybuilding is about. Bodybuilding is about being able to withstand pain, be able to really stay committed and disciplined year round. And Dorian was the epitome of discipline, and it showed in his physique. It showed in the package that he always brought, extremely consistent and always improved in every way he could. So guys, today on the menu we will start with a lateral raise, then we will move on to the flat press, then the original hammer strength flat press, followed by a low incline prime press, then into a dip machine, then we will have 2 sets of pec deck, followed by 3 sets of overhead machine tricep extension, and then back to 2 sets of behind the back cable laterals. And that will be the session for today. So I'm very much looking forward to it. 13 working sets all in. Now today we are at 17 and a half weeks out, so each video now you will get a little bit of a brief update of where we are. Today, my body weight has actually come down to 265 pounds. Now, if you haven't seen any of my prep vlogs, I am vlogging every single week as well, and I'm giving more in-depth breakdown of what's going on with prep, so you will get to see this in vlog that is going to be 17 weeks out. And you will get to see most of the updates on the nutrition and where I am currently. But today, 265 pounds, 0.6, condition's pretty good. As you can see, the face isn't fat. I am pretty vascular, especially in the areas that I am leaner in. The condition is really starting to shine through. But over these next 4 to 5 weeks, we are aiming to really bring it in and get closer to where I need to be condition-wise. So we are going to step our foot on the gas. That does not mean we back off from the training. That means simply we stay focused, we continue training accurately, and we continue to execute everything with perfection, or as close to perfection as we possibly can. So perfection doesn't exist, but we can always chase the idea of perfection in pursuit of progression. Write it down. Right, plan of action now. I'm going to get the massage going on my pecs before we get going. Again, this is simply to provide me with a little blood flow into my pecs before I get stuck into my press work. So I will probably take that out with me and give my pecs another little going over before we get stuck into the session. And I'll be honest, I am very much looking forward to using that press today. So game time. It's going to be a great one. So make sure you stay tuned for today's session. And as always, we're going to bring it, baby. Now, before we get stuck in the session, guys, a lot of you always message me about training plans. If you are looking for training plans or mentorship or coaching, please click on the link below and visit Team MK Coaching and see how we can actually help you reach your goals. Whether it is trying to upskill and get some bodybuilding education through our mentorship, which has endless content, free training templates that you can utilize for yourself and your clients, and one-on-one mentorship from myself and the girls, giving you all the help that you may need to improve your skill set as a coach, or you are simply looking to be the best version of yourself and you are looking for coaching, apply through our website. Now, we are going to launch a training plan that is going to be covering upper lower at the end of the month, so make sure that you are keeping your eyes peeled for that. But all things coaching, Team MK Coaching, you know the drill. And guys, if you are looking for the best supplements, trained by JP, code Kuba, and accessories, code Hardbody. That's my little shameless plug before we start going. Now, I've got to be done, guys, because the more support you give me through using my codes, more content I can actually give back to you guys, because believe it or not, YouTube doesn't pay for this content. I have to continuously pay for it. So in order for me to be able to keep the content coming, obviously some of that gets paid through the sponsorship. So you help me, I help you. So it's a good trade-off, if you ask me, guys. Right, game time. Right, exercise number 1, single arm cable lateral. I do prefer working unilaterally for smaller body parts like tricep, bicep, and your delts, especially when it comes to isolation exercises. I personally feel I can get more from them. Research does say that you can recruit much more muscle fibers training unilaterally, but we don't really care about that. I do something, it feels good, I repeat it. It's as simple as that. You do not need evidence to allow you to make decisions when it comes to your training. What you need is some self-awareness. If you feel like you can execute better doing an exercise a certain way, it's probably a good idea to continue doing it. You do not need evidence and research to guide your decision making for everything that you do. It gets to a point where everyone's crippled and paralyzed because of the information overload. People are losing the ability to think for themselves and feel what is actually happening on the gym floor. That's the most important thing, guys. You need to have some self-awareness. Do what feels good. Do what allows you to see consistent progression, and repeat what allows you to see progress. Write it down. Just so smooth. Got the cable isn't on properly, so it's just super sticky. So when you're doing a lateral and the load isn't really super high, if the cable feels sticky, just won't feel right. But that's nothing down to the gym. I think that's just mostly people just dropping the cables and just, you know, not really treating kit with respect. And that's what happens very often in gyms, unfortunately. It is what it is. Right, this is just a couple of sets, just to get a little bit of blood in my pecs before I go into pressing. Now, if you struggle with just generally maintaining good connection with your chest, it's always a good idea to get a little bit of blood into it. The whole purpose of that is, when you go into a press then, you will be much more mindful of keeping attention on the actual pecs. Now, what can help is your exercise selection. If you also struggle with developing a connection with your chest, pick exercises that converge. You will notice today, all of the movements that we have picked for chest converge. So this is the movement we're looking for. This mimics the function of the chest. The function of the chest is not to do this, it's to do this. So you have to try and mimic the function of your pec as much as you can when it comes to exercise selection, if chest is something you struggle with. If it's not, you probably don't need to overthink it. All you've got to do is just go in the gym, press some stuff, and you'll be sweet. If you struggle with it, you probably need to use this a little bit to try and get more out of your pecs and less shoulders. Right down. Exercise number 2, guys. We have got the flat hammer strength press. It is a convergent chest press. So this is one of my favorite exercises / machines of all time. Mainly because Dorian used it, and secondly, because it is quite safe in the stretch. It allows me to really get deep reps, but it's also a great movement to begin your session with. It will allow you to train the pecs in the fully shortened range, and we'll move on to exercises that are heavy in the stretch. This way we are matching the strength curve of the muscle with the resistance profile of the machine. One of the best presses, really. It's just, if we're going to use it, we need to use it at the start of the session because it's just so heavy here. Yeah. Yeah. Now, guys, if you have access to hammer strength pieces, generally hammer strength pieces are very heavy in the lockout. So if you are going to utilize them within your training program, always start with them, because if you go into this exercise already pre-fatigued, where you don't have as much power in the lockout, it's not going to be as effective. So as a reference point, guys, if a machine says hammer strength, start your sessions with it, and then move on to machines or cables that are going to be much heavier in the stretch. This way, you will just get much more out of that press, or pull down if you are using a pull down. Yeah, you feel safe in the stretch because you're already exhausted a little bit in the short end. So you're still fresh here though. Do you know what I mean? So when it comes to exercise selection, so I said to you, it's ideal doing that first, because moving on to this now, when it's heavy in the stretch, it feels amazing, isn't it? And you still feel like you have a lot of power.
It feels like we are fresh.
Yeah, because we are, essentially. That's why exercise selection plays a huge role. A lot of people think you shouldn't even think too much into what you do, but when you actually program exercises in with that purpose, and you do pay attention to what machine may feel better in your exercise sequence, your sessions are so much better and you're able to take more progress, more muscle. Simple as that. As exercise number 3 was a low incline prime conversion press. Again, conversion movement, ideal for pecs. Now, the reason why we are doing it as third exercise in is because you can actually manipulate the resistance profile on that specific machine. So the way we load the plates plays a massive role. Set number 1, we loaded 40% mid peg, 60% top. So it's somewhat of an even resistance profile. Back off set, however, we loaded 70% top peg, 30% mid peg, which means it's going to be predominantly heavy in the stretch and it drops off as you come to lockout. So my goal with both of the sets is to use the same weight, change the resistance profile, and match the reps. And that is exactly what I actually did today, which is a massive success. The weight itself is the same for both sets, but it actually feels easier as you're coming to the lockout and it's heavy in the stretch. So essentially, when it comes to the quality of stimulus that you get from the exercise, it's much higher because you do tend to load in the stretch, but also you are continuously adjusting that resistance to match the strength of the muscle, meaning you get so much more out of your exercises and sets and reps. Alright guys and girls, exercise number 4 on the prime dip machine. The beauty of the prime dip machine is that you can still adjust the resistance profile through the cam settings. So on this one, we actually load it very heavy in the stretch. Again, allowing us to get a lot more out of the movement. Generally, I always like to have a dip variation, simply because the dip for me is a universal exercise. It's perfect when it comes to trying to train your chest, tricep, and to a degree front delt. So if you can slot it within your push workouts, I would highly advise you keeping some sort of dip or a narrow grip press in as a part of your push workouts for your tricep compound exercise. Remember guys, it's a compound exercise for a reason. Make sure that you focus on full range of motion and do not try to turn it into an exercise that it's not, which is an isolation exercise. So always remember guys, dips, they train your chest, shoulders and tricep. Make sure that you utilize them for what they are the best at, and that is targeting all three whilst having some slight bias towards your tricep, depending on how you execute it. Hold the machine. Aggressive with it. I think that was 10.
I was too busy fucking trying to hold.
Thank you. Strong. Come on. Better. Come on. Good. Come on, work. Control, control. 2 more. 1, 2, 1. 1 more rep. Come on, breathe. Go. Come on. Work. Beautiful rep. Thank you. 8 to 12 reps. Keep it heavier. Well done. Your abdominals that are outside, and your abdominals inside. That's a little hernia.
So how do I get rid of it?
For that, you can strengthen your abs. Train your abs.
Train your abs, huh?
Train your abs, yes. But if you allow that to get any bigger, you may need to actually have it stitched up.
Right, okay.
So planks, a lot of planks will help.
Yeah, it goes away. Let's say I'm resting a day.
Yeah.
It goes away.
Planks.
Planks.
Planks and crunches.
And then I keep poking it.
Yeah. Just pop it back in. If it pops out, just pop it back in.
Yeah.
It's a hernia.
Thank you.
I'm not a doctor, by the way. I've just done this for a long time. Exercise number 5, overhead tricep extension machine. 3 working sets here, same weight across all 3 sets, aiming to match the reps, so my rep sets. Set number 1 was 11 reps, set number 2 was 9 plus 3, set number 3 is going to be 8 plus 3. I am using appropriate loading. I'm not training heavier than I'm capable of, I'm simply using the weight that I need to hit my rep range, which is 8 to 12 reps. Well, close to that 10 mark for this exercise. Anything heavier puts a ton of stress on my elbow. Let me in you on the biggest secret to growing your actual arms. You need to train them hard, you need to train them heavy and accurately. Now, heavy is relative to what you can actually do in a rep range that is not going to lead to connective tissue pain. For me, the rep range that I like the most for arm training is between 10 to 15 reps. Now, the heavier I go, and when I venture into lower rep work for my arms, that is when I experience a lot of elbow issues or tendon issues. So I do like to work in a rep range that allows me to stay accurate, doesn't lead to any connective tissue pain, and allows me to have consistent progression within my logbook. That is always the key. There must be progress in order for you to keep driving more muscle on that frame. Right guys and girls, exercise number 6. We've got the cable fly. And the main reason why we have the foam roller added here, both myself and Mark benefit from this massively because it allows us to wrap our scap around this, allowing us to get a lot more stretch. So by implementing this here guys, we can get access into deeper ranges of motion, exposing our pecs to a little bit more range, especially in that stretch position, which does have a lot of merit when we are trying to maximize training to get the gains. Get the optimal gains, guys. Again, this feels better, so if it feels better, I'm going to use it. Second reason is that it allows me to get more range and access into the stretch. So another benefit there, right? Therefore, I continue to use it. If you have a foam roller, you have a band, and you have a bench, and you have some cables, use it for your cable flyers and get a massive chest. Okay. Okay, I got a session wrap up. A tremendous session today, to be honest. Great connection with each and every single exercise, and everything just sat perfectly. So this will be the session now moving forwards at this gym, utilizing the equipment we have at this gym as well. So guys, hope you enjoyed the session. If you have, please make sure you like, share, subscribe. And if you need anything, you know where to go. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.